to actually navigate and use JamBoard in order to run an activity in your classroom aligned to one of the lessons. And so in a previous video you might have seen, we were aligning a JamBoard to the launch in Unit 6 lesson day 3. And so in order to do that, one thing we did was we did insert this image onto the JamBoard. So you can go ahead and you can screenshot this image. And when you screenshot that image, it's going to save, on my computer it saves to the desktop. Most computers, I think it does save to the desktop. And so, actually let me just start from the beginning. So I'm going to click this, which is add image. I'm going to browse. And then I'm on my desktop. And I'm going to go ahead and click the screenshot I just took. That's going to insert the image right onto my slide. And I can do that onto the next JamBoard page as well for as many as I wanted to create. I can also type directly onto the JamBoard by clicking this text box feature. And that's where I can put at the top any type of directions or sentence starter. Oops. Play does not belong because, right? So for this activity, students chose which expression does not belong. I'm putting this at the top. You can change the color. You can change the text size. You can change the alignment, etc. Okay. And so then within this slide, I can also use sticky notes. So this is where you're mostly asking students to use this sticky note feature to put their answers, responses onto here. So when you click this, you have choice of color or no color. Students can type their responses and they'll just pop up. Now, one thing to take note of is the sticky notes will pop up anywhere on the screen. So while you're monitoring this activity, you're probably going to want to be moving the sticky notes around, and you might even be strategically placing them together, especially if you want to draw their attention to them or prompt a discussion about the relationship between two of them. You can also use the shapes feature to actually point out specific sticky notes, circle them, etc. The one thing is when you put the shape on after, it's going to be moved to the front, so you can click this, order, and you can just send it to the back, and there's our sticky notes. You can also duplicate sticky notes or duplicate shapes. You might, when you're doing the sticky note features for the different colors, you might ask a certain group to share their ideas in pink, another group in green, another group in yellow, if you're doing kind of a group work activity. Another cool feature on JamBoard is you do have the ability to actually write directly on the screen. So if you've seen in past activities, students can agree with a check, they can disagree with an X. You can also use the highlight. There's a highlighter, a marker, a pen, and a brush. Maybe for this, you're highlighting that's 6 times 8. Where else do we see 6 times 8? And showing that on the, right, here's that expression right there, 6 times 8. And showing that on the actual screen. Another really great feature you have on JamBoard is you have this little kind of laser, which also can allow you to draw attention to a specific part of the screen, but it'll erase right away. So it's kind of like a pointer for you to help guide students' eyes. In addition to all of these features, as you want to add on new frames, you just click next frame. I already added this one, and you can just continue clicking really infinitely. So if you wanted students to each take a frame, you can also do that and assign students a number, like so-and-so goes to frame 3, 4, 5. You can even just take a couple minutes at the beginning of class and write a student's name up here and assign them that frame to work on, show their work for a specific problem, etc. So it's another great way for students to share ideas and collaborate. You can also set the background of a frame. So you have the option of these pre-done backgrounds. This one's really nice for math class. But you also can add in an image, and actually You can add in the image you screenshotted, but another cool image, you could do a Google image search and you can actually pull up, maybe a coordinate plane would be better. You can actually pull up a coordinate plane onto your screen and students can graph directly on here. There is no straight line feature, so that's the only hard part if you're trying to graph a line. You know, maybe you ask students to hold up something to the screen or they just kind of do the best they can, but that's not necessarily always ideal, I know, because we want precision in math. And then if I wanted to clear the frame, I could just click clear frame and it's going to clear for us. A couple of other quick things to note. You do want to title your Jamboard so you can easily access it, whatever the lesson is or whatever works best for you. And then another thing is that you really do want to make sure your sharing settings are set to change that anyone with the link can access it, but you also want to make sure anyone with the link is an editor because students need to be able to actually write directly on the Jamboard. And so if you don't do that, students are not going to be able to put the sticky notes in. Okay. And that's really it. Just a quick tutorial on how to use Jamboard. Thanks for listening.